Yo guys, what is up? Phly here. Welcome back to the channel. I am finally officially back on the YouTube channel. I got back from the UK probably about 2 days ago, but I just took about 2 days off to relax and spend time with family and friends before we start playing with stuff like or called like the 80-foot nasty. You know, I thought I could be wholesome for a little longer before touching an 80-foot nasty. We actually might play this soon or later. Let me know in the comments below. But holy crap, the trip thoroughly surprised me. From the people we met, from the things we did, and from the weather. It was absolutely beautiful. The city of England. I'm just kidding, guys. All right. This is it's hard to joke online because some people are like, oh my gosh, he really thinks it's a fucking city. So that was a joke, by the way. Okay. We'll just start with that. The weather was phenomenal. It was about, I think, 27 Celsius, 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Let me just double check with my supercomputer over here. Oh my gosh, it's almost perfect. 27 Celsius is 80.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Look at that, guys. Look at that. I'm getting there. I'm trying to break the imperial system. But bottom line is, it was absolutely gorgeous. Now, for the guys from the UK, they were suffering though. They were suffering bad, you know, and to their credit, they weren't used to it at all. But there were two guys from Scotland who were just destroyed. It was so funny watching them just sweat their ass off. It didn't matter where they were at. They could be outside sweating. They could be inside in a cool house still sweating. I felt really bad for Jack, Scott, and one of the other guys, Elite. But if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I went to Tankfest this year in Bovington, and it was actually perfect. I thought there'd be some complications in the travel, complication in, you know, people getting on each other's nerves, complication because something has to go wrong, right? When you're traveling to see like 13 dudes across the lake or the Atlantic. But everything went swell. No problems, no issues whatsoever. There are stories, however, and we'll start kind of just in order from when I landed in Heathrow to getting to our Airbnb. Aaron, or Hikes, was nice enough to pick me and the other American up, that's Aaron, from the airport, as well as Mike goes boom from the airport. So much love to him. Thank you for not having me take a train and a bus all the way down there. It's about a 2-hour drive. But besides the point, he said, yeah, sure, I'll pick you up. But his car, you know, granted, his car is amazing. But bless its heart, it only has 55 horsepower, right? And it's a VW, I don't really know the name of it, but it only has 2 doors, and with 3 of the 4 guys being around 6'4", 6'3", 6'5", it was really cramped. I shit you not, out of second gear, it probably took us 9 seconds to go 10 more miles an hour increase in acceleration. It was that bogged down. It was that slow. And Hikes, I don't want to call you out here, but Hikes cut 2 or 3 people off, right? And normally he wouldn't have cut them off, okay? So let's get that clear. With him being a single passenger, he would have been able to accelerate fast enough that the other person wouldn't have been cut off. But with a carload of 2 Americans, like, come on now, and then Mike goes boom, that car did not go fast at all. And the way you drive in the UK is on the opposite side of the road, or the right side. So, Aaron put me in danger almost all those 3 times pulling out in traffic. So we almost died with that. Too much weight, not enough horsepower. And then, just backtracking a little bit, when Hikes picked us up from the airport, it was a 3-lane highway. I was so used to this. I was like, wow, okay, this looks like where I'm from. This is so nice and easy to wrap my head around. And then about a mile or 2 or 3 after on that road, it went to 2 lanes. All right. And then so I'm like, oh, wow. So we're still going pretty fast on a 2-lane. This is still kind of normal. And we're traveling, having a good time, you know, stopping and looking at things, etc. And then it drops down to a 1-lane road. Not like where cars can, you know, come towards you in their own lane. This was literally a 1-lane road. And this absolutely blew my mind because in some situations there was no way to pass the other car. You had to reverse potentially around a bend when the oncoming car behind you is going 30 miles an hour. And these roads have hedgerows, maybe about 5 feet tall, so no one can see around the corner. You're reversing to let this car in front of you go around you, but the car behind you can't see. I'm just saying right now, if these roads were anywhere near where I live, there would be catastrophic consequences. No one, I mean, I don't know how we got to our Airbnb without being killed. I shit you not, I actually got into a crash position in the car. I stopped tensing up around corners. I put the headrest to meet the back of my skull, and I kind of made myself limp as we were going around corners and stuff. It was that ridiculous, at least for me, all right? At least for me. But we finally make it to the Airbnb thanks to Haig's amazing driving. And the only guy I've ever met there was Jack Scott. The rest of them I've never met before. And I'll be honest with you, this passed through my head. I was like, man, what if Iron and Mike set this whole thing up to, you know, out me? It really did cross my head. You know, you're going in this house with 9 strangers. Is this really going to be dandelions and bunnies and happy times? You know, long story short, it was the dandelions and bunnies and happy times. Thank goodness. But it did pass through my head. But the first night was a little bit of a blur, obviously, because we were excited, we're jet lagged, and we had Budweiser. We had Budweiser. Guys, I traveled 3,922 miles, or it's 4,222 miles, all the way to the UK to drink more Budweiser. I vividly remember people making fun of me for drinking piss beer during my streams. And then I travel to try, or to a place that isn't supposed to have piss beer, and we drink piss beer. So well done, chaps. That was the real English treatment. Hats off to you, and Scottish treatment. But I digress. So as the day faded to night, and as the sun greeted the moonlight, I know, guys, pretty good, huh? I just thought of that. I bet it's been used before. But the next day, you know, it's nighttime, we sleep it off, we're a little hungover in the morning. Jack's making breakfast for everyone. Hats off to that guy. And I gotta say, the toast in the UK is amazing. It's proper, thick, wide toast. Don't take that out of context, all right, boys? But it was nice having some bread with some support value on it. Like, you could put stuff on it, and you can, I mean, put a lot of stuff on it and eat it like that. In America, the toast here, it's flimsy, it's thin, and it probably costs more. But today, everyone was really excited because today was the first day of Tankfest. So we got there way too early. And in hindsight, I'm glad we got there early because we were molesting those steel beasts. We were just touching them, sticking our hands down their barrels. Mike was looking up German side skirts. It was just a really strange morning, but it had to be done. It was just phenomenal how those tanks move, right? Like, and they move good. They move fast. They're mobile. I mean, for some, it might make sense. Big engine, it can move. But for me, at least in my brain, it's not natural to see something that heavy move like that. It's not natural to see anything heavy move like that. It's not natural to see planes fly. That's why it's dangerous to drive with me, because if I see a plane flying, there's a high chance that my eyes will be looking at the plane and thinking about, man, that thing weighs about as much as a mouse. You know, the Boeing 777-300ER, granted that's empty weight, but it's flying right now. It's generating more lifting power. Welcome to my brain. Hope you have enjoyed your stay. Now, please leave. But continuing on, so we touched tanks for a little bit, and later that day, it was me and Squire's signing session. And this was the first time I've ever done one of these things, like officially. And I think Squire's as well. And so we were a little nervous, and we were like, you know, getting all giddy and excited, and just really looking forward to it. And holy shit, the turnout was unbelievable. We had 2 signing days, and I would say in total, we shook the hands of maybe 400 people, maybe 350. 350 low estimate, 400 high estimate. It was an unbelievable turnout. Me and Squire, after the first day, we were like, holy crap, that was awesome. And after the second day, we were blown away by how many people still wanted to come see us. And for me, and I don't want to put words in Squire's mouth, but I would assume he felt the same way. It made our day, it made our week, and for me, and maybe for Squire, it made our year. It was so humbling, it was so beautiful seeing faces that supported us and loved our content. So from the bottom of my heart to everyone who's watching this video, who came to Tankfest and stood in line for 2 hours at some points to meet us. Thank you for your support. Thank you for viewing this video, and thank you for supporting the channel and allowing me to continue this. But after the signing, it was the proper tank show. It was the main event for the day, and not to brag at all, but we had premium passes, so we were able to go to a really nice area to get some awesome footage. And the footage I recorded, it's on my Instagram and on my Twitter. Links in the description below. A little bit of a plug there. But it was an amazing spot, and thankfully that was the case, because I forgot my glasses at the house. So at this range from the tanks, I was able to see them crystal clear. And I gotta say right now, my favorite, and I'm sure a lot of people's favorite, were was the IS-3. That was the only tank, in my opinion, that actually shook the ground properly. And a lot of that has to do with its tracks. It has metal or steel tracks, or at least that's what contacted the ground. There was no rubber or anything in there, so it had a much bigger impact on the ground. And plus, it's IS-3, comrade. Tank makes ground, bitch. But in the sound category, I shit you not, a M4A1 Sherman gave the IS-3 a run for its money in loudness. The IS-3 was a little bit louder, but that M4A1 dinky Sherman was the second loudest vehicle there, second loudest tank. And wow, I gotta say, War Thunder has nailed the sound effect on the Leopard 2A4. That, well, maybe it's a little bit of a too much turbo whine, just a teeny bit. Maybe turn it down maybe 3 or 4%, maybe 5%, and it'd be perfect. But that turbo whine and engine sound, I was like, oh my gosh, am I in a video game right now? But during the event, I met a lot of content creators. I met Fosh, I met Jingles very briefly. We were busy, and Jingles just hopping around, having a glorious time. But we shook hands, and then we smiled into each other's eyes. I met Lindy Beige, and oh my gosh, if there's not a better example of the pinnacle of a British human being, it's Lindy. But then I tried to meet Quickie Baby. I saw him walking, and I tried to lock eyes with him, try to make eye contact with him. That didn't happen. And as I walked past him, he had this like empty stare in his eyes, like he was dead inside. Like Wargame worked him to death at that event. So I just walked past him, staring at him, as it was just awkward. But overall, it was a fantastic day, and we ended it with watching tanks for about 2 hours. Nothing better than that, as well as breathing in diesel smoke fumes from the T-72. Thank you so much for that. That was yeah, that was not good. And so now Tankfest is over, and we still got about 4 or 5 days to do whatever we wanted to do. And the thing we did the first day we had off from Tankfest, I wouldn't have guessed this in a million years. In the UK, we went to the beach, and it was amazingly beautiful. It was majestic, and the reason why I say this is because there was horses on top, or skyline on a hill, just looking into the vast distance. It was beautiful like that. I saw the cliffs, and we swam in a cove. It was just surreal, you know, being in the UK, expecting, you know, rain and some not so much fun weather, to then turn out to be a beach-going day. Like a beautiful day. Like, I had no worries in my mind. It was one of the most relaxful days I've had in probably a year. That day is going to stick with me for a whole lot of time. And unfortunately, Jack Scott was still sweating. He was still sweating at the beach with a massive gust of wind. He just doesn't know how to regulate. The Scots don't know how to regulate their body temperature. And that's pretty much all the stories I have from Tankfest, or just the trip. Oh, I watched the England versus Colombia game in a pub, which was awesome. I didn't think that would happen either. And we were cheering and yelling and screaming during the PKs. And then the Scots were cheering for Colombia. How petty do you have to be, right? So Jack and Elite were cheering for Colombia, and it was just like, first of all, it was cringy. And you could tell both of them knew nothing about football or soccer. They're like, yeah, that happened. Oh, and just 2 more tidbits, just footnotes of this whole trip. If you guys ever get a hotel room or are in the same building as Aaron, you're gonna need to bring ballistic hearing aids or something. That guy snores like a fucking hippopotamus. He woke up the whole house. People 2 rooms down, people a room below him could hear him snoring, and this guy wouldn't wake up from his own snoring. This guy wouldn't wake up for me yelling at him at 4 in the morning. And the only way he woke up was that I took the nightstand and slid it over to him as hard as I could, and then he woke up. Then he said, "I'm sorry." And then he went to bed in the next 4 seconds and started up again. I thoroughly believe that his snoring could be used for torture. It really could. It was so unruly loud. I've never heard someone snore that loud in my life. Another footnote before I end is that Squire's a little bit of a player. Yes. Squire, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. You know. Oh, and also Squire doesn't get out of character. You know how he is in his videos? That doesn't stop. It never stops. That's the way he is. The way he's in the way he's in his videos is the way he is in real life. So it was perfect. But guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed the stories from today. Yeah, sorry there wasn't more dirt. It's the truth though. It was just good guys, good people, good company, and a pristine vacation. So I thank everyone in the house for making that possible. And it's good to be back. Really good to be back. I'm looking forward to it. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.